All right. Hello, everyone. How y'all doing today? Hope you're all having a good Christmas Eve. Because tomorrow's Christmas Eve. Tonight is the eve of Christmas Eve. Yesterday would have been Christmas Eve. Fun fact, you can represent any day of the year as how many Christmas Eves it is. How y'all doing? I hope you're having a good time. We're going to be here talking some Warzone. I'm going to go over, at the beginning of the stream, I decided I'm going to go over a little history of just who I am and what's going on. I know all you know this, but I am Fizzer. I'm the creator of this game, Warzone.com, and I've been working on this game since 2008, and I plan to continue on working on it the rest of my life. Y'all know this game. You don't need to go into history of the game. Face reveal win. My face is revealed. It is somewhere on the internet. You can find it. So I'm going to be going over today all the new updates that have happened since the last stream. The big one is, of course, 5.31. This was yesterday's update. We're going to be also going over... There's been a couple other little things that have happened since the last time I streamed, so we'll go over that quickly. And then I'm going to be going over all the questions that you guys asked in the AMA thread. I'll also be answering any questions from the community and Twitch chat, so if you have questions, feel free to throw them out anytime. I'm here to answer all your questions. You just popped in to say I've been playing it off and on since June of 2010. Wow, that is a long time. That's very close to the launch. It launched in 2008. You've probably been here longer than anyone else in the chat, I would imagine. So thanks. I'm glad you enjoy the game, and thanks for stopping by and saying hi. Is the only way to get the pre-alpha trophy to bribe the original players for their accounts? The pre-alpha trophy was a trophy given out to people that had played, I think only in 2008. I think the pre-alpha ended in 2008. So the only way to get it is to hop in your time machine and create an account in 2008. Holiday has treated me well. I've been lucky enough to do this update. I didn't plan on doing this update close to the holidays. This is honestly just when I finished it. I wanted to get it out weeks ago. Okay, so we're going to go over all the updates. Feel free to ask questions as we go. But since the last stream, so the last stream I did was right after the big clan war update. There was a small update after that. I'll go through this quickly because most of this stuff is not too significant. This is not what you tuned into the stream to hear. But there are a few things in here that I haven't talked about on stream yet. So I figured it's good to go through them. Why didn't you give yourself the pre-alpha trophy? Are you secretly an imposter who wasn't around back then? That is true. I am, in fact, my account is the only old account that didn't get that trophy. I just didn't want it on my profile. I thought it would be kind of, I don't know, redundant or lame. I don't know. Not that the trophy itself is lame, but the idea that, like, obviously, I created the game. I've been playing it since the beginning. You don't need people to remind me that I played since the beginning. So I specifically excluded my account from that trophy. So there was a change. Clan pages show the best clan war ranks instead of showing every season. That's mostly there because clan pages were getting extremely long. Some of them were like, they went on and on and on and on and on. So now the way it works is if it picks your best rank you've ever achieved. So in this case, we're looking at Prime. They've only ever been in second, so it will include all their seconds. It will not certainly not filter a first, but and it also, if your best rank is second, it won't filter any seconds. So basically, it tries to show at least 5 here, but if you have a tie for your best rank, like Prime does, it'll show multiple. But like if we go to another one, so you can see here, the nightclub, their best rank is 3rd. So it'll show all their 3rds, and then it basically fills in their next rank in order to get to at least 5 is the way it works. So the next best ranks is 4th, and they have a whole bunch of 4ths, so it ends up putting a bunch in there. If we go to someone else like Blitz, you can see here their best rank ever is 7th, and then it shows their 10th, 11th, and 14th, and because there was a tie on 14th, it ends up showing more than 5. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well. But here we go. Here's one that has exactly 5. So it basically fills in their best 5 seasons. And if there's a tie for whatever the final rank is, it adds more. It adds in all the ties. Shouldn't say something along the best rankings then. Now it looks like Wood played much less than Prime. It doesn't say. Maybe it should say the words best ranking here. I'm not sure about that, to be honest. Right now it just shows 5. Maybe it should say best ranking. I'm not sure. What do you guys think about that? I'd be open to feedback on that. Profiles now show the name of the country flag. So this was something that was visible before on the website. It says plays from the United States. This is something you could see before. You could see this flag. You could hover over the flag to see it on the website. But now it actually says it explicitly in words. Part of the reason this is here is, well, there's a few reasons. One is for the mobile app, it doesn't have hover. So on the mobile app, you could see the flag, but you wouldn't, if you didn't recognize that flag, you wouldn't know what country it is. Also in the United States, it shows the state as well. And that was not visible on mobile before. You had to go to the website to view that. So now this will be on the mobile. That'll be rolling out in the mobile update that's going out right now. So most people probably don't have this yet, but this is coming in the update. Also, part of the reason really this change was made is because I wanted to add the words plays from here. I want to make it very clear that this location is just showing where you play from. Some people would get confused by this and they would see a flag here and they think like it's the country that they like choose to represent as a player or as a person, when that's not really what it's showing. It's really just showing what you play from. And of course VPNs screw this up and stuff, but at least it's clear now. This is just showing what you play from. It's not showing your favorite country. It's just showing where you play from. How come the amount of free wins given out has increased? Yeah, this is something we'll get to in the blog. Well, I'm going to talk about it now. So there was a change to the number of free wins, or not the number of free wins, but it's more generous in giving out free wins. I assume you're talking about Clan Wars and not the idle free wins, which is another thing that we'll get to. It's slightly more generous in giving out free wins. So it used to be that players only got free wins if none of their clanmates queued for the same template in the same time slots, but now players get a free win even if they did queue in the same one. This is really changed because it's what somebody asked for. And I'm not entirely sure if this is a good change. I'm open to feedback if you guys think that this should be rolled back. Feel free to create it on the feature success forum. But it was changed because there were times when people were legitimately trying to play the game and play Clan Wars, and they weren't getting a game and they weren't getting a free win just because their clanmates also queued on that template. And I thought maybe it was a little bit too harsh. Generally, you should get a free win if you show up and you're ready to play, but there is a limit. We shouldn't give out a free win to every single person that queues, just because that would make it exploitable, and it would encourage people to like overwhelm a template with like way too many people and farm free wins. So it's limited to 1 free win per template, per clan, per time slot. Yeah, so that's basically my thought on that. Mine is broken. It says I live in Arizona. If you live very close to the border of Arizona, it might just be because your ISP routes your traffic through Arizona. If it's way off, you can send me a mail and I'll look into it. It is IP-based location lookup, yes. My recording is running, yes. Maybe you are repurring my name, Eddie. I am hosting big private games. I wanted to ask if it's possible to host some games with 50 people in it. Is it possible? Yes, there's a feature called Mega Games. When you create a game, you can click this button right here, Mega Games. This allows anywhere from 40, you can do 50, you can even go up to 400 is the limit. That is how you host games with more than 40 people, is using the Mega Games feature. Might be a good idea to only allow low-rated clans free wins. At the moment, it is seen as exploitable, I think. Maybe. I'm not sure if being low-rated is specifically appropriate to tie to free wins. This is already exploitable. I mean, you can get 1 free win per template per time slot as maximum. So it's, but I mean, if you show up and you're willing to play, and there just aren't opponents there to play against you, nobody queued up against you, you should, in my opinion, deserve a free win. 400 is crazy. Yes, 400 players in a single game is indeed crazy. The way the algorithm works, it could also be the highest or medium rated clans get the free win, I think is what you're saying. It is possible, yes. Resolve feature request now announced in global chat. Fix the view, and then a bunch of bug fixes. I don't know if there's a few fixes in here. These things are now coming to mobile. So the 5.30.1 did not come out for iOS and Android. It says here, iOS and Android will skip this update, receive these in the next update. So a lot of the features that we're going over in this list are actually coming to mobile now, because 5.31 just came out. So like there's some improvements to idle, like the auto artifact swapper now swaps in the army camp boost artifacts when drafting. Because previously when I first made the swapper, I didn't realize that this artifact boosted drafts, but someone pointed it out. So I'm like, oh yeah, we should fix that. How can I unlock the button Mega Games? Oh yeah, so I should have mentioned that. Mega Games do require coins to create. So if you do not have at least 300 coins, this button won't show up. It does. The idea behind Mega Games is you are spending coins to make the game, and those coins go towards. Oh no, they don't. Never mind. You are spending coins to make the game, and the idea there is Mega Games should be rare. So artifact swapper fixes, other fixes. I did a bunch of work on actually making the website work better with touchscreens. So if you use a touchscreen device and you play on warzone.com, the website, you should notice better. It works better now. There's a fix coming for Android notifications. They used to require 2 taps to open. Oh, that's actually already live. That was a server side change. That's not coming. That's already been there for like a month now. And then, yeah. The other thing that happened since the last stream was we added new templates to the clan war. It's a clan wars. And that was done with a voting system. That was really cool. This is old history to most of you guys. You guys already know about this. But we added the ones that were voted in were French Brawl and what was it? Volcano Island. Oh, Strategic Geese and Volcano Island. Those are our new templates. Those have been live for a while. You guys probably already know about this. You agree that free win promotion promotes metagaming more than Clan Wars already does. Wouldn't mind if the free wins get removed, provided it doesn't make Clan Wars impossible to play for new clans, but I think it would be fine with the new matchmaking. That is possible. That's true. I'm not sure. I'd have to give that more thought. But feel free to create a feature request with that, and I will eagerly await the discussion. It would be cool if private mega games were free, but I get that it should be rare. Yeah, I understand. The idea is that mega games should be like a big event. But anyway, with the Clan War voting, we did this instant runoff voting thing that I was pretty pleased with the way it turned out. Basically, it allowed, when we put out the poll for everyone to vote on what templates they want to see in Clan Wars, you could rank them all from 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. So then we could do this instant runoff voting thing where we eliminated templates one at a time and reordered their rates. It's a good voting system. I was pretty pleased with the way it worked out. And I would plan on doing that again next time we have a poll for something like this. All right, so that brings us to yesterday's update, 5.31. And the big feature in this is groups. Any plans to make that voting thing something regular? I do think we need to vote on Clan War templates more often. I'm not sure exactly how regular it should be. Every 5 seasons? Yeah, that seems reasonable to me. Every 5 seasons. You should make a feature request on the feature request forum. By the way, I should talk about the feature request forum because I've already mentioned it several times on stream. And someone might be watching that's just like, what the heck are you talking about? We have the feature request forum. If you go to the forums, it's one of the forums, feature requests right here. This is the official way of requesting new features in Warzone. You can come here, you can either create your own item or idea, or you can vote on other people's. Everyone has a certain number of votes. If your item gets completed or implemented in the game, you get your votes back, so then you can move them to something else. You can also just take your votes back at any time and move them around to whatever you want. And this is the primary way that I receive feedback from the community in terms of what they want me to work on. So a whole bunch of things just got done, or at least a few did. So like Premium colors was something people voted on that got added, and Clan Wars normalization, and compensation to players when idle battle doesn't start. By the way, is there one in here for arenas? Idle arena free win. Yeah, here we go. After successfully being stuck in a queue for more... Oh, we'll get to that. Here, I'll do that on stream later when we get to it. So yeah, feature request forum. That's where you go to request features. New Clan War templates. Yeah, it opened to the wrong place. Oh yeah, okay. That's the one that was already completed. Sure. So groups, let's talk about groups. So groups originated from the feature request forum. In fact, someone requested a feature that ended up becoming groups. So when they requested it, they used the word community hubs was the suggested feature. I renamed it to groups. I thought that was a better name. But essentially, the feature is very similar to what was asked for. So groups are kind of like a clan. So this all came out of the whole Clan Wars changes that were made in the last big update. And we talked all about those in the last stream, so I won't rehash them. But the idea is that people wanted a method of communication that is not tied to clans. So that's kind of what groups are, is it's a way for you to create a group, and then you can join that group, and you get a chat room, and you get a forum, and groups are completely free. Clans have a size limit. They're limited to 50 players, whereas groups do not have a size limit. You can have infinite number of players in a group. So that gives you a way to communicate without the limitations of clans. You can also be in multiple clans at a time, or sorry, multiple groups at a time, whereas clans limit you to being in only one clan. There actually is a limit to the number of groups you can be in. That limit is 100. I'm not tied to that. If someone has a legitimate need for more than 100, you can let me know about that. But and the other difference is groups are free. Anyone can just go ahead and create a group. So the way you make a group is you go to the community tab, you go to groups, and this will be on the mobile app as well. The mobile app is currently rolling out, but it's not quite out yet. You go to create a group, you can give it a color. You can choose if a group is open or closed. Open meaning anyone can just come along and join it, or closed meaning that you have to invite someone. And then you can also control if whenever somebody joins or leaves the group, if that's announced in the chat room. So we can say, I'll go ahead and create one just to show it off. Let's give some Amazon here. And then what'll happen is you'll get a chat room. If you go to the chat tab, you can see you have a little chat room. And that gives you that. There's also a forum. Also, some people might not notice this, but anytime you're in the chat room, there's a little gear in the top right corner that if you click that, it brings you to the group page. Just a little handy thing that you may not have noticed. You can invite players, and I actually tried to make it really easy to invite players to a group. Because I know a lot of people are going to invite, so there's actually like 3 or 4 different ways to invite people. So like the last person invited in chat, spoke in chat is JK, so I'll invite him to the group. So you can type in their name, you can invite from your friends list. You can also type in a clan name, and then if you click the players button next to that clan, you can invite people from the clan really easily. And finally, the last way you can invite people is if you go to someone's profile, there's an invite to group button on the profile page. So you can just click invite to group, boom, invited. So I tried to make it easy to invite people. That's because one of the use cases I see for groups is like if you're, some people are going to use it even if you're for temporary groups. Like if you're in a game together, maybe you're in a diplomacy game together, like a real-time diplomacy game, and you're forming an alliance between 3 or 4 different people, and you want to discuss with those 3 or 4 people. Using private chat doesn't work out too well because then you can only talk to one person with private chat. You could make a mail thread, but that's a little bit asynchronous. Like it doesn't show up real time. You have to kind of like go back to you have to go back to the mail thread, go back to the game, switch back and forth, especially on the mobile app. But a group, you could just pin it on the right side, the chat room, and then it's just there and people can talk in real time. So that's one of the use cases for groups. There's also, one of the things I like about groups is there's lots of different ways to use it. You can use it if you just have a friend group that's across different clans and you want to keep in touch with them. You could have a group for all the map creators, or you can have all the groups for mod creators, or you can have groups for all sorts of things. In my opinion, a good feature is a feature that you can think of a lot of different ways to use it. Within a group, you can also have moderators and owners. So there's different permissions levels. So what happened to the group? Go here. So for example, I'm the owner because I made the group. You can click this little P button. You can change anyone to be a moderator or a normal member or an owner. You can make people an owner as well. It does give you a little alert when you go to make someone an owner, because owners can do anything with a group, including demoting you or kicking you out. So if I make someone an owner, they can just come in and kick me out. Will transferring ownership be something that can be made possible for clans as well? Not currently, mostly because there's a bit of a risk with that. And clans is something people paid money for. So like, in my opinion, it's always owned by the person that paid the money because, they paid money for it. I don't officially support selling of clans to other people. I don't know why. I don't think that would be I don't think it would be that useful, to be honest. There's also a forum for clans. You can create forum threads, just like for groups, just like clans. You can also kick people out of the group with this little X button, and that's it. You can come to the settings. You can change the name at any time. You can change the color at any time. Both moderators and owners can change the clan settings. So just be aware, if you make someone a moderator, they can come in and change the name. So essentially, it's a more fleshed out version of what the mail thread used to do. I can see where it will be handy, especially since you don't need to switch between mail thread and what you're doing. Yes, that's kind of the idea. If an owner ever leaves the group, another player will automatically be picked as an owner. That way there will always be an owner in the group. If everyone leaves the group, it then becomes empty. This is something I didn't say in the blog post, but if everyone leaves the group, it's empty. If it's an open group, anyone can join it, and then the first person to join it becomes the owner. Or even if it's closed, if somebody had a pending invite, like if you invite someone to a group and then you leave, then the group is empty. If somebody joins and they're now the only person, they will be made the owner. Does it prioritize moderators when picking a new owner? Yes. It will pick a random moderator. Actually, it's not random. I think I said here it was random, but technically it's not random. I think it actually just picks the oldest account, like the account that's been created the longest. No particular reason for that. It could have been random too. Like, I don't think it's really significant. But yes, it will first pick a random or the oldest moderator. And then if there are no moderators, it'll just pick the oldest account. How many times do people you don't know randomly invite you to their games? And do you ever join? I don't know exactly how many times it's happened, but it does happen from time to time. I sometimes join. I basically look and say, are these people trying to troll me? or would I enjoy the game? Sometimes people invite me to a game and I'm like, I don't know if I really want. I don't know if I have time to do this right now. But yeah, sometimes I join the game. I tend to not join. If it's a 1v1 or like a template I play often, sure, I'll almost always join that. Because like, if you invite me onto one of the basic, quick match templates or one of the Clan Wars templates, I will pretty much always join that. If it's a big game that's going to take lots of time, sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I have time for that right now. But and sometimes people are trolling and they're trying to get me into a stupid game. Merry Christmas, CA900000, if that is your real name. But yeah, if you want to play with me, feel free to invite me to a game. So just a note on Discord, I already wrote this on the blog, but I know many people use Discord already for a lot of their communities and stuff, and that's fine. Like, I fully recognize that Warzone's chat room is never going to be better than Discord. It just isn't. Like, Discord has many people working on it, many full-time people working on it, whereas I'm only part-time on the chat room. Do you use Discord yourself? I do use Discord from time to time, yeah. I'm not super heavy there, I'm a member of a couple groups that communicate on Discord, and I will occasionally pop in and read there. I mostly just lurk. I don't chat much, but I also do check out the Warzone official Discord channel occasionally. Okay. So that's groups. Another thing, and this is something that directly came from a suggestion. I can't remember if it was during one of these AMA sessions or if it was on the feature request forum, but someone pointed out that if you go to an idle arena and you request a game, sometimes it takes a long. Well, sometimes it takes a long time to get a game, which is known. But someone suggested that, hey, if you've been waiting a while for a game, how about you just get the win? And I'm like, oh, that's actually a really good solution. It's particularly a problem on the 2v2 template because it can take a long time to get 4 people queuing for that exact template. And that's kind of a bad experience when people are searching for a game for a long time and not getting a game and just sitting there with nothing to do. So I'm like, hey, it makes sense to just give them a win if they've been waiting. And the way it works, it says about a minute. The way it technically works is I think it waits for 10 seconds, and then after 10 seconds, I think it's 10, maybe it's 15, but something like that, it'll pop up a message saying, if you don't get a game in the next 60 seconds, you'll get a free win. So it's actually about 70 seconds you have to wait. So the first 10 seconds is just like normal waiting, and then there's a countdown for 60 seconds after that. And if those 70 seconds elapse, you just, boom, get the win. Oh, I hit my desk. You hit the win, you get the win. And the reason I like this implementation is it encourages people to actually wait. Whereas before you might be like, oh crap, 2v2 template, I'm never going to get this game. I'm just not going to queue for it. Now you're going to be like, well, I'll queue for it, and then I'll get the free win after 70 seconds. And if enough people do that, it causes the games to actually starting because there's multiple people waiting to get their free win, and that causes the game to start. So it's kind of a self-correcting system. So if you play on the website, this is already live. You can already do this. If you play on the mobile app, this will start happening as soon as the mobile app update comes out. The mobile app started rolling out last night. It will be rolled out within a week or two. The no split delete button is a great addition. Thanks, Cowboy. We'll talk about that in just a second. Let's see. Is there a stat on how long players are waiting for arena games? It feels like whenever I'm searching for arena on a non-small template, it always took more than a minute, but it might be the time of day or my bad memory. I do not have those stats in front of me. I have not looked at those stats. I'm not sure if those stats are even collected, to be honest. Well, yeah, they are, because it's all in quick match. But then I would have to ask the question, do I know the difference between a normal quick match queue and an arena queue? Is that in the log? But yeah, it's possible those stats are logged somewhere. It's possible they're not. I'm not 100% sure. But either way, I haven't looked at them. So I don't have an answer for you off the top of my head. But yeah, most of my knowledge on this is just based on what people have told me, anecdotal, people sending me their feedback. Maybe this is a dumb suggestion. Is there a way to make emojis more recognizable to chat? I feel like the laugh emoji are, but most show up as little squares on mobile at least. Yeah, so there's an issue on mobile where every character that the Unity mobile app is able to display has to be shipped with the app. This was something actually, when I first made the Unity mobile app back in 2016, 2017, I actually had to spend quite a bit of time on that because, in my opinion, it's a dumb system. It should just display all characters, but that's not the way it's set up. I have to go through and I have to make these big template files that have, or these big texture images that have like thousands and thousands of characters in them. It was a big problem for Korean, Japanese, and what's the other one? And Korean, Japanese, and Chinese. The Korean, Japanese, and Chinese languages just have tons and tons of characters, and including all of them is impossible. So I had to go in and figure out which ones are included and which ones are not, as well as emojis. Emojis are something that didn't exist very much in 2016, or they weren't used as much, or maybe they didn't show up in my search. For whatever reason, the most emojis did not make it into that list. So that's why the emojis don't show up. Certainly I could go back to those lists and remake them with emojis in them. I just haven't spent the time to do that. I would have to determine like which emojis qualify as a list, because again, you can't include all of them just because it would like balloon out the size of the app and like hurt performance. But I could certainly include like more frequently used ones. I think there's a feature request for that already. I would encourage you to put your votes into that if that's something you want me to put my time into. It's just not something I've spent time on. Also, thanks for everything you do. This is my favorite site, and I've been playing for years. Awesome. I'm glad you enjoy it. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, JK linked you the feature request there. Let's talk about the no split delete button. So this is something that actually came up during the last live stream, which is when you play a game with the no split mode. No split. There it is. So no split mode is a mode where you're not allowed to set the number of armies you're attacking with. You can see here in the attack transfer box, you usually have a little slider here that says how many you want to attack with, but in no split mode, you're just attacking with everything. And in that mode, there is an improvement now. Let's say I make like 3 attacks or 4 attacks. If I come back and I'm like, well, I want to delete this attack, what you used to have to do is you used to have to go to your orders list over here. You had to find it and use this delete button. Now what you can do is you can just issue the attack again and there's a delete button. So deleting an order from this window is already possible outside of no split mode just by setting the armies to 0. But no split mode, there's no way to set the armies to 0. So that's why that wasn't there. But now there's a delete button. You click that delete button, it's gone. For people that play no split, that is very useful. So that's what that is. A forum search. Okay, so there is a forum search. I'm going to be the first to tell you right now, the forum search is not very good. It does work, but it's not great. If you go to like Warzone Classic, not this one. So this forum search already existed, and this just searches Google. But if you're on the mobile app, that wasn't an option. Or the feature request forum, these pages aren't indexed by Google because they're like generated by JavaScript. But this little magnifying glass, this is what's new. You can click on this and you can search and you can type in a search term. ASDF doesn't exist, but if I search for like nudge, there you go. You get all threads that mention the word nudge. Now I will say that the reason I say it's not very good is because it doesn't sort things very well. It will do a good job at filtering down to all the forum posts that mention your word, but it probably won't like put the most relevant ones at the top. That's probably what it's not very good at. So like if you search for, I don't know if I don't have a good example, but if you search for something that's going to be in 1 million threads, it's not going to, like if I do API, that will probably work pretty well. All the things that mention API. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example. Like if you search for classic, I don't know. I'm not sure if I have a good example on when it won't work well, but I'm sure if you play with it enough, you'll come up with examples where it doesn't work well. Thoughts on adding the button to normal games? Newbies might not know that they can set armies to 0 to delete. Yeah, that's actually something that's been a hotly debated topic in the past. Mercer and I, years ago, debated this intensely. Mercer actually thought that it should be there, and I'm kind of taking the position that, my general opinion is that every button that you add to the UI just creates more confusion. It's one more thing you have to inspect and learn how to use before you can understand a UI. So I'm kind of the opinion that you should have the minimal set that's necessary. And because there's already a way to do it just by setting the armies to 0, that adding more buttons just creates more confusion. It's also not an essential feature, like you can play the game without it. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I could be convinced otherwise, but it is something that I feel it probably shouldn't be there, but I could be convinced otherwise. Are you thinking about adding a translator for messaging? That is not something I'm thinking about. I can see how it would be useful, but it's not something that I've currently planning on doing. You're free to add it as a feature request, and it's the kind of thing that if enough people voted for that, I would consider it. Is it a direct string matching for the search? Like if you search for will it give back all threads? If you make a typo, will you get nothing? I think the answer is yes, although I haven't tested it enough to know. It's a MongoDB full text search. If you wanna Google the technical details behind how it works, search for MongoDB full text search. That's what it uses. Speaking of API, can we have an API for Clan Wars data? There is a feature request for this that has 50 votes. Really? 50 votes? Oops. Feature requests. 50 votes. Clan Wars API? Yeah, you're right. It does have 50 votes. Yeah, I'm not opposed to adding that. It's not something I've worked on so far. But yeah, I think it is a good feature idea. Something like the delete or a garbage can icon is also easy to understand and learn. That's heading to 0, and it might make a feature request for this later on. Yeah, I'm not opposed to adding that. So we already talked about this. There's also a couple bug fixes for Clan Wars. Things are sorted properly. There was a bug where if you went to Clan Wars, where's Clan Wars? And you go into a template. This page was sorted incorrectly before. Wait, is this right? Wait. Okay, so it's right on this page. It looks like this is still bugged. Yeah, I think that's... I'm going to write this down. I think this page is still bugged because it says day 9 only has 1 game in it. And day 8 only has 1 game. And then all of a sudden has day 1 here, which shouldn't be here. Okay, well, this is showing the bug that I fixed. This is the bug that I fixed, except I didn't fix it on this page. I fixed it on the View All Games page. Yeah, so sorry about that. I'll get it fixed on both pages in the next update. But at least now it's fixed on this page. If you click the View All Games page button, this is how it should work. Basically, this is day 10. This is day 9. You go to the next page. Continuation of day 9, day 8. It's now sorted correctly. You can see how it used to be all messed up where like it's randomly including day 1 here. It's because these are free wins. So free wins were not sorting correctly. That was the bug. So you can see like this is a free win from day 8. That shouldn't be on this list. And these free wins from day 1 should not be on this list because this is supposed to be showing the most recent things that happened. So that's the bug. Good, I was able to show you the bug. That is partially fixed. The View Opponent's Cards button is now nicer. Let's take a look at it. If we go to a finished game, let's sort by ended date. Let's go to a random game. Go to Opponent's Cards. So this is how it looks now. You can kind of see everyone's cards all at once, whereas before the way this dialogue worked is you had to it showed you all the people and then you had to click a button to like view my cards. Then you had to click a button to view Jed B's cards. Now it just shows them all to you at once. If for some reason there's so many that you can't see them, you can click on it and that makes it bigger. Then you can see them in the pop-up view. That will only be useful if you have a game that has like thousands of cards and you're just like, oh, I can't see them on this list. They're too small. Anyway, little UI improvement there. That's what that is. In the No Luck Analyze dialog, the number you selected is now highlighted green. So this is if you're playing a game, just a little usability thing. When you go to Analyze Attack. Oh crap, it's actually broken here. Okay, we found another bug. So this is broken on the website. I recognize this problem. This is a missing image. But anyway, this right here, the CS6 is black. It's supposed to be green. That's the bug. But like if I type in a number, and the reason is because this defaulted to 10. If I'm like, how many armies do I need to attack with to kill 22? Quick recalculated. The answer is 13, and it kind of highlights that. Because 22 is the number I asked for in this box. That's why it's highlighting this row. And again, it's black, but it's supposed to be green. I would really like you to add a deleting or editing a message. You mean like game chat? I'm not sure if you're talking about game chat or like chat rooms or private mail or what. Oh, by the way, we talked about this earlier. Idle Arena free wins, especially 2 versus 2. After successfully being stuck in a queue and no one joins your arena, can we actually get our reward since it's not our fault there isn't 4 people for 2v2? This is the suggestion that got done, and I haven't marked it as completed yet. Oh, I will. I actually, I was going to do it on stream, but I can't do it right now because I actually remove all my special admin permissions when I stream because I don't want all the super secret admin buttons to appear. So I actually don't have permission to update it right now. But after the stream, I'll restore my admin permissions. In game chat and private messages. Yeah, that's an interesting idea to allow deleting or editing a message. It's going to be kind of hard to implement as I think about it, but it's possible. Yeah, you can add that as a feature request to the feature request forum. Added a game start line. Okay, let's see. So, come on. After you're done reviewing the blog post, can you show groups in the app? Curious to see how that will work. Sure. I'll just do it now because otherwise I'll forget. Let me pull up the standalone app. Also, if you're a member, you can see this today just by running the standalone app. It's looks like this. And you can see right here I'm in 3 groups. Oops, I'm in 2 groups. That one, actually, I wasn't in it anymore. This is how it looks. You now know super secret buttons existed? Yes. When playing idle on desktop and unchecking all the notification settings that pop up, when you get a bonus, the screen zooms out. Can you remove that zoom out? That is, in fact, an option in the settings. It's called, I'll show it to you. Settings. There's this checkbox right here. Show animation when capturing a bonus. This is the checkbox you're talking about. If you uncheck that, it will no longer play the animation when capturing a bonus. How does it work if you're in many groups? Can you scroll them there? They do not scroll. Basically, the tabs will just keep getting smaller. You might get so small that you can only see like the first letter of each name. But I think if you're in that many groups, probably should leave some groups. Are you aware of the preview bug? When loading a tab, it will randomly show territories in the fog of war owned by either player. Yes, so this is something we can talk about. So A, that's fixed now. B, it was not actually showing territories in the fog of war. I'll get into that in a second. Well, sure. Since you asked it now, I'll talk about it now. So this was a Firefox bug. Where is it? Firefox. Fixed a bug that sometimes made the fog texture not appear in Firefox. So what this is it made it look like you could see through the fog because it was like picking random colors for territories, but you were actually not able to see through the fog. In reality, it was just picking completely arbitrary colors on a territory that should have been fogged. Basically, it picked the color of whatever territory it just happened to draw previous to drawing that fog territory. So it was a bug. It was a visual bug. It was not actually revealing any secret information, even though it might have looked like it was revealing secret information. And also, it's fixed. It just got fixed in yesterday's update. He clearly stated that MTL was a community-run event. It would remove any confusion about its official Warzone event. Still, it would be nice to be advertised as such. Yeah, we'll get to that in just a second. Let's talk about game chat because I first started talking about that. Let's see if I can find a game where this is shown. Past games. Is this game started? It is. So in chat, there are these lines in here. Oh crap, this game has too much chat. There's these lines in here where it says, so this is a new one, distribution start. This didn't exist before. And game start also did not exist before. What did exist before are the turns. So like there's a line right here. It says turn 3 and it separates the chat that happened before turn 3 and after turn 3. That always has existed. But now there's a line for game start and distribution start. Those are both new. So basically before these lines just didn't exist and all the chat rolled in together. So that's a nice little thing. And then of course there's a view in history so you can see that point in history. How come Time Slot 2 in Clan Wars always has only 2 to 3 templates? I get that activity levels may be different per time slot, but a lot of us like playing at that time and get disappointed when there's few templates to play. Okay, so Clan Wars. The way Clan Wars time slots work And just if you don't know, Clan Wars creates, what is it, like 6 time slots a day? Yeah, 6 time slots a day, every, 4 hours? And you can see here there's a different number of templates for each time slot in a day. So, and that is based entirely on activity. So you can see like the number of people that join this time slot is 4 plus, what is this, probably like 15, probably about 20 people join this time slot. Whereas this time slot got 5 templates, you can see a lot more people join this template or this time slot. So the number of people that historically join a time slot at a specific time determines how many templates will be created for that time slot in future time slots. Yeah, so I think that answers your question. Following up on this, the clan, can we avoid getting both small Earth templates in one time slot? So the templates that are actually chosen are based on, they're random, first off. They're from a list. There's basically 2 lists of Clan Wars time slots, or templates. There's the list of base templates, and then there's the extra ones, like French Brawl and Guiroma and Volcano Island. The extra ones will only happen if the time slot has at least 3 templates. That's basically the way they work. So if there's only 2, it's going to be one of the base lists, Small Earth or Medium Earth. Okay, so we talked about the game start line. And the turn numbers that are displayed in chat. So they were 1 too high before. Someone pointed this out to me, that I can't believe this bug existed for as long as it did. This bug must have been in the game for so long before someone actually reported it. But basically they were 1 too high. So basically it said turn 3 on it when it was actually turn 2. And it said turn 2 when it was actually turn 1. So the numbers are going to be 1 lower as part of this update. You will notice that when you get this update. The numbers will be 1 lower if you pay attention to that. Fix the random starts game creation option. Okay, so when creating a game, if you go to the initial distribution tab, you have the option for custom scenarios. So this is specifically a custom scenario change. If you don't know what custom scenarios is, this is an option that lets you specify exactly how the game starts distributing. It's like you come in here and you can assign territories to letters. And then when you go to the Players tab, you can specify which player starts in each spot. That's what custom scenarios is. So I can say, boom, 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 these people are A, B, C, D, and you come in here and be like, no, you're in C, and you're in A, stuff like that. So that's what custom scenarios are. Now, there's also the option to give a random slot. So if I click random slots, then basically I define territories A, B, C, D, but each player gets a random one of those. Now, there used to be an option. There's also this option of players choose their starting position. And when you choose this option, it actually doesn't matter what letters you use on the map. It's just every territory that has at least one of the letters will be available for picking from. Now, in the old UI, prior to this update, there was a problem where you can see right now these are radio buttons, so you can't select both of these at the same time. But before, these were checkboxes, and it was possible to check this and random slots at the same time. And that was a problem. These settings basically don't work together. If you try to use both of them at the same time, it actually kind of breaks the game. There's a chance that you just get error messages and the game can't start, which somebody ran into. Somebody did that, and it created a problem with the game, and I realized, oh crap, these settings don't make sense to be used together. So it was changed to look like this, where it's now a radio list. You can select random slots, you can select choose your starting, or you can select assign your slot directly to each player. So what you see here is the fix to the bug. And of course, if you're not choosing custom scenario, that doesn't show up at all. Also, there was a change to this page, which is now the normal and custom scenario is at the top of the list. It used to be that these radio buttons were at the top. But because these radio buttons change based on... this set of radio buttons is actually the same as this set of radio buttons. But because the text changes based on choosing this, I rearranged it just to make it clearer what's going on. So anyway, Probably more details than any of you cared about custom scenarios, but that's what this is talking about. I assume Small Earth Auto Distribution, Small Earth, One Wasteland are in those separate pools, and you just get unlucky with these choosing both. That is possible that can happen. I mean, those are the most popular templates, so I think it is kind of correct that one of those, at least one of those, should almost always be available, as they are by far the most popular. I have some accessibility concerns. I think the special textured color slots should be free to all due to colorblind players. My recommendation for colorblind players is you change people's colors. So when you come down here in the bottom right corner, there's this change color button. You can actually select any color for any player that you want. I've talked to many colorblind players that say they can find some colors that aren't conflicting for them. I don't know if that's the best solution, but that is certainly a solution I've heard from colorblind players that works for them. Okay, anyway, there's some bug fixes here. I'm not going to go through every single bug fix. Just like little things like when you finish a seasonal ladder game, it used to say your ladder rating is unknown. Now it actually says the correct number. Size limits, yeah, just a bunch of little bug fixes that were reported, that were fixed. I already talked about the Firefox one. Updated idle icon on the main menu. This is something that I was never really happy with the idle icon. It's right down here. You can see it. Most of you probably haven't seen it yet because it's only in the Unity app. But the rest of these are like black and white, and then there's like a colorized one for idle, and I'm like, it doesn't look right having most of them be black and white and one of them be colorized. So now they're all black and white. That's what that is. What should they do when board game players seem to have the same color, but I find out players are totally different? The other thing you can do, and I know this isn't perfect, like I'm sorry you're going through this problem, but I can tell you the things that I'm aware of that can help. And if these aren't enough, feel free to make a feature suggestion to fix it. But the magnifying lens is here for part of this problem. Is you can click on any territory and it will say controlled by, and then it will give you their name. So it is possible for you to go through and inspect every territory. I realize that's inconvenient, but that's at least another thing you can try if you're having this problem. I hope that helps. If it's not enough, feel free to make a feature suggestion for something more. Interesting icon. Do you have a full-size version of that somewhere? I do somewhere, but not handy. A little bug in the Android app. It used to be that if you open multiple tabs, by the way, if you don't know what tabs are in the Android app, if you're a member in the Android app, you can open multiple tabs. You can have like multiple games open at the same time. I can show what that looks like. Up here, if this is the standalone app, but it's the same in the Android app. You can be like, oh, I want to open this game in one tab. I want to open Quick Match in this tab, and a tournament in this tab, and this game in this tab, and idle in this tab. You know, you can kind of go through and you can have different tabs and you can rearrange them and close them, stuff. That's a feature that exists in the Android app. If you didn't know, it's only for members. That's why most people probably don't even know that exists. And if you are a member, you do have to turn it on. You have to go to the settings and check this box that says tabs. I think that's true. Maybe it's on by default. I actually can't remember. Not a bug, but I think it should be changed. The X that shows on the square when a player is booted should have a white alternative. The X that shows on the square when a player is booted. I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about. Why change from sign up to in queue for Clan Wars? You're talking about Clan Wars. That change was made because sign up is a specific term relating to creating accounts, and as much as possible I try to avoid using the same term to mean different things in different parts of the app. So yeah, that's the reason. Oh yeah, so Android, there was a bug where if you open multiple tabs and then you clicked the hardware back button on your device, it would go back in all of the tabs at once, which doesn't make sense. It should go back on only the tab you're currently looking at. So that's fixed. Fixed showing too many decimal points, yeah, whatever. And then some mod fixes. Cool. So that is the end of the blog posts. I'm not going to go over everything in extreme detail, but hopefully that gives you the highlights of everything that changed. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go through this Ask Me Anything thread. I created a thread for people that want to ask questions that couldn't be here today. So I'm going to go through all of those. And then that'll probably be the end of the stream. On the multiplayer dashboard, the dot, waiting for player, and cross for booted limited don't invert on dark colors and become invisible. Ooh. Yeah, let's see if I can find an example of that. Bass games. Like this guy? Yeah, you're right. There is an X on this black icon right there. Okay, that's a good bug. Good bug. I can add that to my list. I'll get that fixed at some point. Thanks for letting me know about that. I see. That's what you were talking about here. I didn't understand you were talking about the multiplayer dashboard. I was like putting my mind into the main game screen, and I'm like trying to understand what you're showing and talking about. Yeah, good report. Thanks for bringing that up. I agree that's not ideal. It should be visible, so I can work on a fix for that. Let's see. Borg TH asks, he has a paid off home, well insulated. Roofs. That's good you have a roof. Is it a well-insulated roof, or you just have a paid-off home with a roof? Not entirely clear. You live in a small town. You could sell it and move to Idaho, but you'd be renting. The financials work out about the same. Unless I rent a room in the house, which I may. I'm worried about issues of renting, like noise levels, bugs, and bed bugs. Being something, and rents could keep going higher and higher as they have in the past. Ottawa is better than living in the Great Cornholio. And when something goes wrong, big or small, it's very difficult to find someone who's both reasonably priced and competent. So views. I would say first and foremost, where do you want to live? Like, a lot of what you point out is financial issues. Like you talk about, you pay it off home and the cost of getting things fixed. I would say first and foremost, before you even start looking at the finances, you need to ask yourself, where would you be happier? And that's a very individual decision that you need to make for yourself. Personally, I like living within driving distance of a big city, but I don't like living in big cities. Like I live probably 25 minutes from Seattle, and that's about perfect for me. I wouldn't want to live like 2 hours from a big city, because there are like benefits to be able to drive to a big city, and like there are things there that you can't get in small towns sometimes. And but I personally don't like living in big cities. I'd rather I don't know. I've never lived in a super dense area. I don't really like the idea of it, but that's just me. For you, I would say where you're going to be happiest. I would say the financial issues are separate. Like you can figure out how to, like, being rich and unhappy is not fun. It's much better to be happy and poor, in my opinion. Washington State is incredibly beautiful. Yes, it is. Why was the weighting symbol changed from an asterisk to an hourglass? It made it easier to find people when I control F the asterisk. I can't do that with the hourglass. Oh, that's interesting. I never thought about people using control F for the asterisk. But yeah, it was changed because I thought it was more easier to see, and also because people sometimes put an asterisk in their player name, which ended up being really confusing because you would see an asterisk there even when they've already committed. Why are new groups using negative IDs? Yeah, so groups have negative IDs, and the reason that it happens is because for chat rooms, so every chat room has a unique ID. Global chat is 0, clan chats are positive numbers, and then groups are negative numbers. So basically the answer is to make sure they never conflict with clan IDs. There are other ways to solve that too. Like I could have started groups at like 1 million or something, or 10 million. But then if you ever get 10 million clans, it would break. So I just use negative numbers. That way it will never break, no matter how many clans we get. Have you heard of the 365-day glucose monitor made by Semisonics? Will you invest? No, I have not heard of it. Great update. Thanks to the content and fixes. One thing I've noticed is that you get a notification on my phone about a new Warzone update until the app is actually updated. Yes. So there is a blog post notification. JK hopefully puts a screenshot of it right here. There is a blog post notification, but I intentionally made it so you don't get the notification to the blog post until your app actually gets that version. That's something I did on purpose because I don't want people to be notified about something they don't actually have. Like, I feel it's a bad experience as a player if you get a notification about version 531 is out and groups are out, but then you're like, well, where are they? I look in my app and they aren't here yet. It's like, well, the app update isn't out yet. So the way that works internally is basically there's a prerequisite flag that's put on every notification that gets sent out. So even though the notification gets sent out to every player that has these checkboxes turned on, you won't actually get that notification until the prerequisite is met. In other words, until you update your app to version 531 or newer, then the app will be like, all right, you have the version. Now I'll give you this notification. It's my understanding that one of the new cards uses AI-generated imagery. Would you consider removing it for the sake of player health? Cards? What cards? There hasn't been new cards added in, like, forever. None of the Warzone Classic cards use AI-generated imagery. I'll just say that right now. And I also don't know why it would impact player health. Since the chance of Clan Wars algorithm, does a free win still increase the rating? Is that still needed? Yes, a free win does still increase the rating. Is it still needed? I'm actually not sure. It's very possible that it's not needed anymore. It hasn't been changed, but it's possible it's still not needed anymore. Classic, are there other groups of cards? So sometimes people call idle artifacts cards. Sometimes people use the wrong word. The only place in Warzone that officially has cards is Warzone Classic. Warzone Idle has artifacts, which they look like little cards, so sometimes people call them cards. Yeah, or JK saying it right here. Some people call the Idle artifact cards as well, but it's confusing, so don't do that. Idle artifacts also do not use AI-generated imagery. So if you're worried about, if that's what you're asking about, I can tell you right now, none of them are also AI-generated. In Idle, if you're running multiple levels at once, pressing the tap again to resume level button takes you to the first level on your list instead of the last level you viewed. Was this set like this on purpose? It was not specifically done like that on purpose. I think the logic I used, so before the tap again to resume level existed, basically it auto-resumed a level automatically. And I think I copied that logic for which level to pick if you're in multiple levels from the old code. That being said, I do think going to the last level you viewed is probably the right implementation. And I haven't reviewed it recently, so I actually don't know if that's how it's currently implemented, or if you're right about the first level. I would agree. Taking you to the last level you viewed is probably better. So that's possible. If you feel strongly about that, feel free to create a feature request, and I would consider changing it. This is America. I'll call it whatever I want. Okay, well, you can call it whatever you want, and I will answer your question that none of the Warzone Classic cards use AI-generated imagery. None of Warzone cards use AI-generated imagery. Rejecting the idea of multi-template ladders is so obvious, as it's a community-created and managed event. However, there's a fundamental issue that can be addressed as the community feels the current 1v1 ladder doesn't show the crew-to-end nature of the game. Okay, so let's talk about what we're talking about. So there was a feature request on the feature request forum for the multi-template ladder to be added to the ladders page. So there's this ladders page where we list the 4 official ladders that Warzone supports. The multi-template ladder is a community-run event. So it exists currently under the community events page, the multi-template ladder right here. And some people have asked for it to be added to this page, and my response is, well, it should be very clear on Warzone things are officially made by Warzone and what things are made by the community. That's the whole point of this community events page, is these are all clear that they are made by the community and not official Warzone features. One of the reasons it's important to make that clear is because Warzone is not responsible for anything that happens on community events, because like I don't run any of these websites or services. Like if this is broken or if it has a bug or if it's down, I can't fix it. And sometimes people think that, so this comes up a lot. The place I see this come up the most is in user script templates. What will happen is somebody will create a user script that adds some feature to the Warzone.com website. They will then distribute that to other people. Other people install it. And the Warzone website then has a new feature that isn't made by me, but it's rather made by the creator of that user script. And then at some point in the future, that user script breaks or somebody has a feature request with it. And they forget that that feature is not part of the official Warzone website, and they send that as a bug report to me or as a feature request to me. And then they expect me to fix it. And of course, I have to go through the work of explaining to them that like, oh, that isn't actually a feature that I make. I can't fix it. You should contact the creator of the user script. This, of course, isn't a big deal, except that I get these a lot. And I actually have to spend a lot of time explaining to people, like, this isn't me. This isn't my thing. You need to talk to the person that made that user script. So that's one of the reasons it's important to make it, I try as much as I can to make it clear what parts of the game are made by me and what parts of the games are made by the community. So, and of course I can't really do that with user scripts. That's kind of out of my control, but at least for community events, I can do that. So I think it's important to differentiate them. I do like the multi-template ladder. It's a great feature. I know it's made by Deadman and run by Baron at times in the past. I've met both those guys in person. They're great guys. I've even added many features to the game for the multi-template ladder. When they ask me like, hey, we want the API to be able to do X, Y, and Z, I'll be like, okay, I'll add it. And I've added many things for them and support the multi-template ladder. I've added things for some of these other events too, I think. I've done special work for them. I am all in favor of community events and I support them. But I do want to make it clear what events are made by the community and what events are official Warzone features. So that's the reason I don't believe it belongs on the Ladders tab, because the Ladders tab is the official ladders. What is going to happen to legacy uncapped clans? Are they going to be capped? No, I have no plans on doing that. Will they be forcefully converted into groups? No. Will legacy owners receive a refund? I don't think that even applies if they're not changing. Are groups going to remain uncapped and free to create? Yes. That is the current plan. In the new Clan Wars update, you write down, now players will get a free win even if their clanmates are queued on the same template as the limited front. What happens in the 2v2 template if 2 extra players from a clan queue? Previously, they would get no game. Now they would get 1 free win or 2. So it's always been the case in the 2v2 ladder that if you join with a team and there's no team against you, that you would get 2 free wins. Basically, each person gets a free win. That's always been the case, and that's not changing. The only thing that changed now is if your clan queues 4 people to the 2v2 ladder, if 2 of those people get a game and the other 2 do not, now you will get free wins, whereas before you would just get no game. Any tips or advice for someone wanting to live and work in driving distance from Seattle, tech sector, currently living in the European Union? Any tips? Want to live and work in driving distance Seattle? Yeah, I mean, that's a very generic, open-ended question. I would say tips are exercise every day. No, I mean, I don't know specifically what you're asking about. But yeah, I think it's a great place to work. I think it's a great tech sector to work in. I'm a little biased. I've never worked anywhere else, so I don't know if I don't know if I'm the best person to give you an answer. But I think it's a great place. If you like to hiking, you'll like it. There's a lot of good hikes around here. Yeah, if you have more specific questions, you can ask me. I'm not sure specifically, just generic tips. Nothing's coming to mind at the moment, but maybe if I had time to think about it, I'd come up with something. tonight I'm going to be like, oh, I should have said X. We have a redundancy as well as naming convention for problems with mods. Please, 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 can you tell modders to get their stuff together and not make repeat mods and horribly name mods? Maybe we need a naming standard and convention. That's a good idea. I do think that it is good to have standard names and stuff. I don't know exactly what you're referring to be honest. Like when I go to the mods page, they always seem pretty okay to me. Like, are there novel? I mean, like Expansion Plus maybe is kind of ambiguous. Like, what does that even mean? But of course, you can open it up and read about it. Some mods have like I.S. in front of it. I asked the creator about that, and apparently they work together or something like that. There's like hybrid distribution 2, which isn't entirely clear. I agree. I can see some things in here. Villages and Villages v2 maybe could be clearer. Like, I don't know. Nothing jumps out at me as being super, super bad. But I'm all for making it more clear. And if you want to champion that issue, I would feel free to take that up. The mod community is very active, and you can, I'm sure you can contact them and try to work out a solution to this problem. You can ask for help or give feedback about mod description settings in the Mod Maker Discord. Yeah, that's basically what I just said. As for the membership, given how much time you spend on Warzone, that might not be a bad investment. Did I miss something? Not sure what you're talking about. Modders and map makers should not be able to create content how they like, so long as it's not against terms of service. Chill out. Oh. I do think there's value into having the mod list be clear. I do review like the names and the descriptions of a new mod before they go public, just to make sure that they're like clear. Because one of the things that's important to me is like the description should be a clear representation of what the mod does. Some of the mods that get submitted have very, very bad descriptions, and I have to work with the mod authors to come up with better descriptions. That is something I do. Since we're here, can I suggest an alteration? When building cities, if you make a mistake, there's no way to correct it other than erase all orders together. Could you fix it? I do agree that is a downside of the building cities UI. I would like to see that fixed. I suggest that you make a feature request for that if one doesn't already exist, or vote for it if one does exist. The problem with mods is they can't really be depreciated. There's several AIs don't do X mods that at some point were merged together. If mod authors can take their mods out of this list. They can make them not public anymore. If they are completely obsolete, I would encourage mod authors to do that. If a mod is completely obsolete and the mod author is no longer plays Warzone, you can mail me. And if I agree it's obsolete, I would be willing to take it out of the list. So it is possible to clean up that stuff. How are groups going to work on mobile? I think we talked about this already. ETA for when the update will be out on mobile. So the short answer is a week or two is what I usually say. There's a long process that I have to go through to release the mobile app. The process was started last night. So basically the first step in the process is I submit it to Google for review. Google takes some time to review it, anywhere from, I've seen them take anywhere from an hour to 3 weeks. Although 3 weeks was like at the start of COVID, and that was an unusual circumstance. Usually it's like 1 to 2 days. It takes Google to approve an update. Once it's approved, it starts a rollout process. It doesn't become available to everyone immediately, but rather it goes through a rollout where at first it's available to like 20% of the players, and then it's available to like 30%, and then it's available to 40%, until eventually it's available to everyone. And even once it's available to everyone, your phone might not update right away. So sometimes it takes time for your phone to get the update, to notice the update and install the update. And once Android is fully out, then I'll then need to start rolling out the Android Idle app. Then once the Android Idle app is run, I also do the Kindle Fire app sometimes. I don't always update the Kindle Fire app. And then the iOS app is the last thing that happens. So iOS users are usually the last one to get the update. Anyway, that's why I just say 1 to 2 weeks to kind of make it easier. But it's going to be a different time for different people depending on what platform you're on and depending on how lucky you are in the rollout. Is Kindle still supported? Is that actually used? It is still supported. It is actually used. It's not used by very many people, but it is used. It's the Kindle Fire, which is like an Android app, not the black and white Kindle. That never supported. Warzone was never supported on that. The new free win structure just opens up the less popular templates to free win hunting for the top clans. I don't see the thought process behind it. We did talk about this earlier in the stream, so I'm not going to go over it again. But yeah, if you feel strongly about it, feel free to have a debate on the feature request forum. How many people play on the Kindle Fire app? What percentage of players? I do not know. I actually really don't know that because it's tracked as the Android app. So when it comes to my statistics, I just see it as Android players. From my anecdotal response of just talking to people and asking them where they play from, it's a low percentage. That's all I know. I don't know actual numbers. We have a custom scenario issue. Making scenarios on mobile is fine, but God forbid you double click on a custom scenario on P, and now that territory is part of a different slot. The mobile system seems superior. You double click a custom scenario on P. I'm not sure what you're talking about, to be honest. You're talking about slot P? What is the percent of players that are male, female, and other? So I do not collect players' genders. Nowhere in Warzone do I ask people that, so I actually do not have that data. Why is slot 2 of Clearing Wars discriminated? We already talked about this earlier in the stream. Yeah, it's basically based on that slot's activity. And I do know that time zones are an issue. There's some people that can only play in particular slots, and I do agree that sucks. And I think the biggest way of fixing this is just to make Warzone more popular. We got to increase the player count. It's something that I am going to be working on soon. You're a diplomacy player, and sometimes when I create it, I need to change some bonus value. Can you make a better tool for that? Like map, you click on bonuses on, and you change their number width on the side, a button to show the custom scenario if there is one. Yeah, I have heard this request before. Basically, when you're making a game, people want to change bonus values while doing custom distributions. So if you go to custom distributions right now, you can see the bonus values on this page, but when you want to change them, you have to go to change army settings and go down to this list where it's just a list of names, and they want to see those two things combined. And yeah, I do think that's a valid feature request. The reason they're in separate places, honestly, is because they're completely separate things. You can change bonus values without using a custom distribution, right? So they kind of have to be separate. They could also be combined and separate, if that makes sense. Like, we could allow you to change bonus values on this screen and also let you change them on the other screen. But the reason that wasn't done initially is because they also have to be separate in case it's not a custom distribution game. Right? If you want to do normal distribution and change a bonus value, you have to be able to do that as well. So that's the reason they originally made separate. Again, they could be both. They could be in both places, so that's a valid feature request. Feel free to create that on the feature request forum. There's no downside to doing that other than the time it takes to create. What country has the second and third largest player base? I assume first is USA. Yes, I do believe first is USA. I don't have that data off the top of my head. I seem to remember Germany being pretty high. I seem to remember UK being pretty high. At one point in the past, Poland was really high, although I think they've fallen down the list in recent years. Make a custom scenario on PC and mobile right now. You'll know what I'm talking about. Or maybe JK3 can translate. I have made custom scenarios on both of those platforms, although I haven't spent a whole lot of time making extremely big ones, so sometimes my experience is different from what you guys experience. Did I answer your question? Yes. No, I don't remember what your question was, but I'm sure I did. Add bonus search for mobile. On PC, we have Control F, but not mobile. Yeah, that's a fair request. You can post that at the feature request forum. You posted yours to the forum that I missed as well? I don't see anything I missed. Maybe I haven't gotten to it yet. Is improving groups your top priority at the moment? Currently, my top priority is rolling out 5.31 on the mobile apps. What improvements should we expect to groups? I think realistic groups will be like clans. The only difference is that groups cannot play in clan wars. I mean, groups also don't have icons. Clans give you icons next to their name. But in terms of what improvements you should expect, that's ultimately going to be driven by what you guys post to the feature request forums. There is one more thing. There's a couple more things I'm going to do for groups, but little things. So like one of the things I need to do for groups that I haven't done yet is I need to make it so an empty group is automatically deleted. Because right now, if everyone leaves a group, which I'm going to kick out JK here, and I'm going to leave the group. If everyone leaves the group still exists, but it is empty. And empty groups need to be automatically deleted. That is a thing that I'll do that hasn't been done yet. It'll probably happen like overnight. Once every night, every empty group will just be deleted. That's my plan. Also, inactive players should be automatically removed from groups. That's also a cleanup mechanism to ensure that just empty groups end up disappearing. You don't want a whole bunch of inactive groups on the groups list. Like that could be a thing that accumulates over time. So those are the only things I'm planning right now. Ability to invite to tournaments. Yeah, I could see that being a feature that people could request. Ability to see on players' profile what groups they belong to. Maybe that's something I'm not sure if is appropriate or not. Basically, this is something I'm actually interested in hearing feedback to. Do people want their group list to be public, or do people want them to be private? Ability to access group forums from all forums lists. Yeah, I think that's actually a good request. That's something I would do if people vote for it. Group page could have group picture description. Sure, I'd be willing to do those things if people vote for it. Player names could have tags like on clan pages. Sure, I'd be willing to do that. Sort players by when they last played. Sure, I'd be willing to do that. Do you plan any chat improvements, like more than 100 shown messages or higher character limits? It's not something I'm currently planning, no, but I'd be willing to do those things. What are your thoughts on this clan wars tactic? Strong clan mass joins a template slot, gets a game against every other player on that template. This means that strong player gets easy games, a weak clan should complete this clan game more points as a result. Do you find this tactic acceptable? Do you plan to reduce any measures to discourage clans from flooding one slot to get more easy wins? I think that's an interesting strategy. My initial reaction is that it's probably fine. Like, there's nothing inherently wrong with queuing on the template that you want to play. Now, I realize there are some strategies in terms of like, if everyone queues on the template they want to play, it might create some problems. Like, what if everybody on one clan wants to play the same template, but there's not enough opponents for that? They might have to be like, all right, well, a few people can't queue on this template because there's not enough opponents. But ultimately, I see this as something that's kind of unavoidable. So, and it's something that I also think will become less an issue as clan war grows. Can you please add a word to this thread? Sure. Done. What groups bring besides being in a clan with a different name? What do groups bring besides being in a clan with a different name? It simply baffles me. It gives you a place to communicate. You're in a clan, you don't want to be in another clan. If you don't care about the feature, that's totally fine. But there are people who do. Is it possible to tweak the ladder rating system to be less of a grind? The new ladder rating systems make it very difficult to get to the level of decent competition in the game. Obviously, having the rating system be changed from the old ELO system prevents gaming of the system, but also incentivizes players to not play, so it's likely to grind out 30 to 40 games to get to the point of having consistently good games. Yeah, I could see how that's a problem. I'd have to do some analyzing of the data to see how big of a problem that is. I don't know off the top of my head. But I'm open to the ideas of making changes here. For the team game ladders, it's even worse because you have to play 20 to 30 games to contend for first just makes it so that very few high-level players will team them. Will them. Very few high-level players will join them, I assume. Yeah, I'm open to having this discussion. I encourage you to create on the feature request forum, and we can talk about it. You mentioned how you want to keep the MTL separate to different community run event. Is there a way we could have you increase the visibility to them? As a previous organizer of community events, it often takes significant effort to get the average player to know these even exist. Maybe add it to the homepage. I don't want to have to do this again. Yeah, you shouldn't be spamming, but yeah, I think adding visibility to the community events page is something that is a noble effort, and I'd be willing to do that. I wouldn't single out the MTL as specifically getting more visibility. I would say all the community events should get more visibility. Let me catch up on chat. In a custom scenario, you can't see what territory is connected to others. I don't know if this would be a good or bad feature to add it. You could toggle it on and off. Yeah, like a magnifying lens button to let you see territory data in custom scenario viewer. Sure, I think that's a very reasonable request. I'd be open to adding that. Will the IDAs then be reused for groups? Might have lost the context of that question. Not sure what you're talking about. Ask this question again if you still want to answer for me. What is your favorite player-made custom scenario, or at least the kind of custom scenarios? Fantasy, alt history, historical, etc. I have to be honest, I don't play a lot of player-made custom scenarios. I mostly play 1v1 strategic games. I think yes, but give the option to hide if they want ladders, for example. What is the reason that is max 100 messages? I mean, the idea is, well, if it was too many, there'd be performance problems. I didn't want to have pages. You could do like a Discord infinite scroll type thing. I think the idea is that it's just a scrolling chat room. It's not supposed to be a permanent archive like Discord is. That's what the forum is for. What other strategy games do you like? I'm a huge fan of the Civilization games. Anyone looking forward to Civilization 7? I don't know if I'm necessarily looking forward to it, but I'll definitely try it. Not a question, but I just wanted to say thanks for this game. I've been playing this game for over 10 years, and still to this day I don't get bored. Much of a casual player now, but just as exciting as it was when I was a kid. Truly feel like it's made me become a better strategist in the real world and other games. This holds a great place in my heart. Awesome. Thank you for the kind words. I'm glad you enjoy the game. I also feel that way. I've also been playing for over 10 years, and I still don't get bored. I still play many real-time 1v1 games every day. And I'm amazed, too, that I haven't gotten bored of my own game. That's how I know I have something special. I'm bored of single player, but not multiplayer. Multiplayer will not get boring for me, I don't think. Okay. Thank you for being the creator and giving me hours of enjoyment. Any thoughts on randomized deterioration of existing territories? Any thoughts of randomized deterioration of existing territories and or to be able to add storylines as a map creator, moving from, say, one section to the next with storylines attached? That's a cool idea. I like the idea, but that's not something I'm currently planning on. I would encourage you, if you're a programmer at all, to try to create mods that do that. The Ring doorbell, indeed. Someone is at my door. It's fine. We can deal with that later. Supporters 4 from one clan and 2 from another clan play Strat 2v2. Well, the Strat 2v2 gives 2 free games to the second pair from the same clan. So the way it will work is that obviously one game will get created between 2 people from one clan and the 2 from the other clan. And then the other 2 people that didn't get a game under today's rules will get a free win, which will be 2 wins, 1 free win per player. This will appear to be abuse of the system. I can see how that could be considered abuse. I think it's debatable whether that's abuse of the system. On one hand, 4 people joined and they were ready to play a game and they didn't get a game. And they could have gotten a game if there was an opponent. So if you're there, the whole idea of the free win system is that if you're there and you're willing to play a game, you should get rewarded for that. That being said, I could see how this could be abused. So if people feel strongly about this, create a feature request form. We can talk about it. I would be willing to go back to the old system of having it be slightly more stingy on free wins. But they knew they would not get opponent? I mean, possibly because they're looking at the opponent numbers. I mean, the other way of fixing this is just to get rid of the opponent numbers. If you can't see how many opponents are queuing, then you don't know you won't get an opponent. You will have no idea. Now you can learn over time, like, oh, this many people tend to queue in this time slot. I don't know. It's possible. There's a lot of ways to solve that problem, but I think over time, as the number of people participating in clan wars goes up, it becomes less of an issue. Love the new arena match feature in Idle. What are the chances of refreshing the selection of games? I use quick match templates. The individual is already unlocked. Yeah, I'm not inherently against that. I think it could work as well. I think the reason I chose to use fixed templates on Idle is it creates kind of a shared experience for Idle. There's also a lot of people that play Idle but not Classic. So for them, I want to ensure that they actually get a variety of templates, even though they won't have anything unlocked in Quick Match. And I kind of like the idea that every Idle player is having a shared experience, rather than different Idle players having different templates available to them. I think there's some value in that. That's kind of why the decision was made, but I wouldn't say I feel super strongly about that. I would say that's just the way I designed it. What's going to happen to top suggested features on the feature forum? Are they going to stay in limbo? Will they be declined? Some of the talk requests have been stuck there for months. Okay, so there's a few things to unpack here. One, there's always going to be more feature requests suggested than there are feature requests that can be done. That's because there's thousands of people that can make a request on the feature request forum, but there's only one of me implementing them. And also sometimes some of these, I've seen some feature requests that literally take many weeks or sometimes even months of work for me to do. Whereas it only takes 60 seconds for someone to make a feature request. So there's always going to be some requests that are stuck in limbo. That's just a normal thing that is going to happen. By nature, 99% of feature requests are not going to get done. I can try to do as many of them as I can, but it's not going to be all of them. And also, the other thing is, you say, what's going to happen to top suggested features on the features forum? By definition, there will always be a top requested feature on the features forum that has the most votes. The votes is basically one input to the algorithm of deciding what features get selected. So just because a feature has the most votes doesn't necessarily guarantee it's going to get done. And I will say there are many times in the past where I have done the top requested feature. It's been the one that gets completed. And when that happens, it falls off the list. It is no longer the top requested feature, because when a feature request gets implemented, those votes get returned, and then the next one moves up to the top of the list. So by definition, there will always be a top requested feature on the feature request forum. I'm not going to always do the top requested one, because that's what it's called, designed by committee, and I don't think it results in a very good product. Sometimes they'll get declined, sometimes they'll get completed, but being the top is not necessarily a guarantee it's going to get done or even completed or declined. The number of votes is just one input into the algorithm, is the short answer. Are there any plans to insert prerequisites for joining open clans or groups? It is not something I'm planned right now. I'm not opposed to it. I think it's a fine feature. Are there any plans to make open clans / groups more visible? If a random open clans groups were shown on the multi-template password, more people might join them. So I will say that there are currently plans to make open groups more visible, in that it is currently rolling out to the mobile app. Right now it is completely invisible to mobile users, and mobile users are the majority of users. Most people play this game from the iOS Android app. So once groups are rolled out to mobile, group visibility will increase versus today, obviously, because it just came out yesterday. Clans are already pretty visible, in my opinion, because there's a chat button in the top right corner, and when you click that, there's a clan tab, and then there's a join a clan button right on that tab. If you think it needs to be more visible than that, feel free to create a feature request, and I will consider it. Did anything happen with the Call of Duty Warzone lawsuit? Lots has happened with it. It's actually very active right now, but I can't really talk about it. All I can say is that it is still going, and we are scheduled for a trial in May. What is Mercer up to? I just saw him recently. He's doing well. He's up to a lot of things, but I don't want to share stuff about his personal life. He's still working on Warzone 2, but in ways that I can't really talk about, unfortunately. How do you determine how things are going within clans? Do you talk to other clan leaders? Yes, I do talk to other clan leaders. I will say that how I determine is mostly based on... The primary way I get feedback from players is either people mailing me or reading the feature request forum. Sometimes also reading the normal forum. Sometimes also reading Discord. About 85% of active clan players do not bother to participate in clan wars. Only 5% of active players play on a near daily basis. What are your thoughts on this? So I haven't seen those numbers, but I will trust that you got them correct. My answer is that it is up to each individual player to determine how they want to play Warzone. I know there's a lot of people that just don't play multiplayer. There's a lot of people that just play single-player Warzone Classic. There's a lot of people that just play Idle. Some people just aren't interested in clan wars, and that's totally fine. Does chat in groups count towards raffle? JK says it does, and I think you're correct, and I think that's a bug. The intent is for the raffle chatbot to only reward people who are chatting in global chat. So I'll get that fixed. Thanks for bringing it up. Rainforest green is such a good color that too many people now have it. Really? I didn't know that. I have not paid attention to statistics on that. Will you consider adding acid green or apple green as the more premium green color? You can post to the features or request form. I would want to check. The first thing I would want to do is I'd want to check and make sure that these are not too similar to any of the current colors. If any, we don't want any two colors that are too close to each other. And I know we already have some that are too close to each other, but as much as possible, I try to minimize that. I used to hate Clan Wars because of the templates, but you seem to have fixed that by adding more of a standard strategy templates as well. So I play it more now. Cool. I'm glad you enjoy it. Have you ever won a raffle or the coin wheel jackpot? I have won a raffle, yes. I do not regularly spin the coin wheel because spinning the coin wheel is mostly an ads thing. Like you have to watch an ad. And I actually don't get paid when I watch ads myself. Google, the ads are provided by Google, and Google does regulate that. They know when it's me watching the ad. And they don't. It doesn't pay out when I watch the ads, so I'm not going to watch my own ads. I do spin the coin wheel from time to time, especially to test things. Every time I release the mobile app, I do a test of it to make sure that ads are working properly. So I do watch ads and spin the coin wheel, but I've never hit the jackpot. I do not spin it very often. I want to release an update to one of my mods regarding neutral special units. If I recall correctly, I have to wait until all devices are updated right. So yeah, neutral special units was something that was changed in this update in 5.31. And yes, it's best to wait a couple weeks until the update is fully available before releasing that mod. I also have a mod I'm going to be releasing for neutral special units that shows off, just an example mod to show off neutral special units being used. And I'm also waiting a couple weeks to release it. Quick question, are there any groups out there that I will join? I'm not currently planning on joining any, but maybe. What's the most liked and hated template? That's a good question. I do not know the answer. You'd have to poll the community. Based on the recent poll we did, I think the most voted template was French Brawl. But that's not of all templates. That's just of the templates that were on that poll. I do know that the Small Earth templates are the most popular. I think those are the most liked. I would have to say the Small Earth, probably Small Earth 1 Wasteland, from what I've seen, is the most liked template. I don't have any scientific data. That's just what I see most people playing. Are there any plans to turn some mods into regular settings in the near future? That is something I am interested in doing, but I wouldn't say I'm doing it in the near future. I would say that's on the plate for some point. Despite how much work it will be to rework the text rendering in the app, will you at some point add full Unicode support? Will you do it at some point to add full Unicode support? I don't think we'll ever get full Unicode support, like every single character. I think unless we switch away from Unity, or if Unity releases some feature that makes it possible. Under the current implementation of the TextMesh Pro Unity library, which is what Warrior Zone uses for its text, I don't think it's possible to add full Unicode support without impacting the performance of the game. That being said, I don't know that we need full Unicode support. I think if I redid it and included some more of the most desirable characters that people want, that would probably go a long ways, and at some point I might do that. Have you considered streaming on more places than just Twitch? You could stream on OnKick, YouTube, or Rumble. Some people might prefer to watch you there. I have not considered it. I'm not too familiar with those platforms. I am familiar with YouTube. I'm not familiar with OnKick or Rumble. I don't actually know what the pros and cons are. I would say that Twitch has worked fine for me, and I don't really have any major complaints about it. This will probably be the last post of this thread, so Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everyone. It's not the last post of the thread, but thank you for your kind wishes. Greetings from Greece. Hello, Greece. I hope you're doing well over there in Greece. What time is it for you? Who made the icons/images in Idle, i.e. the hospital, the drafting hand/gun, arenas? These were made by, I'm trying to remember. I've used a number of artists over the years. These were made, I think I just hired an artist somewhere on the internet. I don't even remember their name, to be honest, unfortunately. Yeah, I can't give you an answer, but it was someone I hired on the internet and paid them some money to make. Ideally, just use OS fonts, because whatever new icons get added, it just works in the app. Yeah, that is the ideal solution, and that is what, unfortunately, the TextMesh Pro library in Unity does not support. Thoughts on a World Championships? I've heard there's been some for Risk. That would be cool. To me, the World Championships are the ladders. That's Warzone's official World Championship competition. And some people would say that they think the multi-template ladder is an even better World Championship competition. Time here was that 11 p.m.? You gotta get to sleep. It's a Monday. Don't you have work tomorrow? It's Christmas Eve. Maybe people don't work on Christmas Eve. I don't know. I work on Christmas Eve. I work every day. One comment for me. I don't like to commit a turn. And when watching the turn, many spoilers are already there? Huh? If the game ended, it says so before I ended watching the turn. And I also know I can have a conquer a territory because the cards are available for the next turn. I would change that. Yeah, I do agree with parts of what you're saying. So there is actually work that I actually made some improvements to this years ago. It used to, if you were in the middle of watching the turn and the game ended, like your opponent surrendered, it would actually just stop watching the turn and immediately pop up a box that said the game ended. It's at least slightly better now, whereas it lets you finish watching the turn. There are still some hints that the game ended. One hint is that the timer disappears if it's a real-time game in the top right corner. Another hint is that the cards, you won't get awarded new cards. And the little mini cards preview would show you that there's no new cards, and that's how you know the game ended. Also, even when the game didn't end, what you're pointing out right here is that you know if you conquered a territory successfully or not, because the cards, the little picture of the cards has updated already. I would say of the things you list, that's the highest priority one I would want to fix. I would also change that, yes. Cicero says I would change that, and I agree with you completely. I would also change that. That is something I would like to fix. It's a little bit complicated to do, but I agree it is a worthwhile change to do. Maybe I'll do that at some point, but I would encourage you to create a feature request for it. Even though I already know about it, it's good to create a feature request, because that way at least you'll get notified when it gets done, and it helps keep track of it so I don't forget it. But yes, I do agree with everything you're saying. I don't like the spoilers showing up either. GameIcons.net. Some of the icons do come from GameIcons.net. Yes, I don't believe the ones Gunk is specifically asking about came from that website. How did you determine idle pricing? Honestly, I just kind of pick numbers. I just kind of think about it and base it on my experience of playing other games on the internet. and I have not really experimented with it at all. I pretty much just pull numbers out of my ass. You could purchase new AAA games for the price of artifacts. I think if you lower the price, you'll get more money sales. It's possible. What are the coin spins only available on mobile? Really, because the ad networks aren't available on desktop, or at least they don't pay out pretty much anything on desktop. And coin spin is basically, the coin spin is you watch an ad to get coins. That's what it is. And so if the ad networks don't pay, it doesn't make any sense to have them on desktop. It's Christmas holiday here in Europe. Most people are off work for the next 2 weeks. Holy crap. Yeah, us here in the United States, we don't normally get like weeks off. We would get like Christmas Day off. And sometimes if it was right next to a weekend, like it is now, maybe you'd get the Monday off as well. But probably not. Most people just use their vacation time. A real thank you for the game, because I was don't of the Risk game many years ago. I was fond of the Risk game many years ago. Cool. Thanks for your kind words. I'm glad you enjoy the game. It's a cool graph. I'm not sure I understand it. This is like economics class. The game tells you when you are streaming. Could it be possible to add a toggleable setting to notify people when other people are streaming as well? Yeah, that's certainly possible. That's something I would encourage you to add a feature request for. I'd say there's absolutely no downside to having that. It's just a question of getting it working right. I would love to incentivize getting Warzone streaming back up. I agree. I would love to as well. I think we have good news for that long term. I can't say everything I want to say about that topic, but long term, it will get back up. Let me put it that way. Will there ever be a reset for ladders? Will there ever be a team template for seasonal? A reset for ladders. I'm not sure why would we want to reset. I'm not sure if we need a reset for ladders. So the seasonal ladder is reset every season. You already need that. But for the other permanent ladders, I'm not sure they need a reset. You're welcome to post about it on the forums and have a discussion. I'm not sure why we would ever want to reset. Let me put it that way. Will there ever be a team template for seasonal? I think, has there been a team template on seasonal before? Was there ever a team template on seasonal? I know there was an FFA, right? Was there ever a team template on seasonal? Here's the FFA, or at least one of them. Can't remember. Did we never do a team template? I seem to remember doing it, but maybe I'm misremembering. Never team. Okay. Yeah, I'd be open to it. I guess it would just be random teams, though. Like every game, you would be matched with different people. Because you don't really join a seasonal as a team. I don't think that really makes sense. But random teams, sure, we could do that. I guess that's the reason I never did it. I remember considering doing it early on, and I think I decided that random teams might be too weird. Team template's a good idea. Okay. If you guys think it's a good idea, I'd be open to doing it. As long as it's random teams, and you guys are okay with that. My fear is that you'd end up getting teamed like with someone who gets booted, or you get, the random matching might end up messing it up. Of course, you are getting matched based on your rating, so as long as you get a good rating early on, then you're going to get matched with good people, but you also get matched against good people. I don't know. I don't know if it would work out. I can think of ways it could also fail. Because if you get matched with people at the beginning who end up getting booted, then you end up never getting a good rating. And then you're matched with other people that have bad ratings, which could be people that also get booted. Like I could also see that being a disaster. Are there any staff or affiliates currently playing Warzone? If so, could they be clearly identified so everyone knows who they are? Really, it's just me. There's also Mercer who sometimes plays. He doesn't play too much anymore. He still works on Warzone, but he's not a player in the game very often. So really the answer is me. As long as it's not me, you're probably not playing with him. Also, are there any bots in the game? And if so, could you share information about that? There is an AI bot feature, but it's probably not what you're experiencing when you just play the game normally. It's not very many games are use that feature. So I think the answer is no. There are not bots, as far as I know. It's possible somebody made a bot and I don't know about it. But random teams will be horrible. That barely works for generic real-time games or match with someone on your block list. Yeah, I mean, I would say generic real-time games are the worst case for random teams. Something like a ladder that's multi-day would be better than generic real-time games, and also because it's only people that are playing on the ladder, which tend to be a higher breed. You have to actually unlock the ladder. It's not just available to brand new players. I would say it would be better than generic real-time games, but I'm still not sure it would be good enough to justify using on the ladder. What players are considered inactive in groups? Inactive for 10 or more days would be helpful in an exact number. I will probably say inactive for 15 days, I think would be a reasonable start. Can players on vacations be automatically removed from groups? I would say vacations probably wouldn't have any impact. Or maybe players on vacation shouldn't be removed from groups. That actually seems like a reasonable thing to do. Here's my original request. For matches where random start plus one team at 100% disadvantage round 1, there should be a vote to restart map rather than vote to end. For matches where the random start puts one team at 100% disadvantage in round 1. I mean, that's entirely up to the template. For one thing, it's really hard to know if a team is at 100% disadvantage in round 1. Like, I've seen some people, at least on Small Earth Autodist, win from some really bad starts. Like, it's a thing that happens. And I wouldn't really want to... I don't know if vote to restart map is the appropriate solution for those kind of situations. I would say the best solution to this problem is to alter the templates so that, you don't have that. Rather than vote to restart map, which is, why would the person in the lead vote to restart the map? I don't know. It seems kind of weird because, like, people who don't vote to restart would then have a higher win rate. So I don't know. I don't know if the feature makes sense, but you're welcome to post it on the feature request forum. I think it's already there. You're welcome to have the discussion. Yeah, give a link to it. Cool. Let's just refresh to make sure this. Oh, it's not the last. All right, we're gonna go over page 3, and then that's gonna be the end of the stream. We have like 5 or 6 more posts. Block list is a funny thing. Kind of surprised nobody made a feature request to fix that yet. You're talking about getting teamed with someone on your block list? Yeah, that doesn't happen because we don't want block lists to be a strategic feature. We don't want people to use it to help them win games. Like, you could block all the people that are bad at the game, and then join a team game to try to not get teamed with them. I don't really want block lists to become a metagame feature. If you're taking feature suggestions, add an option that when you attack a territory, it would default to the minimum number of armies instead of defaulting to all armies. That's interesting. Actually, I've never heard that feature suggestion, which is funny because that's a core feature of the game. Yeah, I don't know if it would be the appropriate default, but I think it would be fine as an option. Feel free to post it to the feature request forum. You should look in Civilization 4 gameplay mod. Caveman 2 Cosmos. It's one of the best. It covers everything from prehistoric to modern day and then goes into space age future. Way more fun than modern Civilization games. That's actually interesting because Civilization 4 is my favorite Civilization, in fact. I have played that game thousands of hours, but I have not played very many of the mods. I've not heard of this mod. So I might actually check that out someday. What is your most liked and most hated template? I don't have a most hated template. Okay, I do have a most hated template. Lottery templates are my most hated templates because they're not fun. My most liked template? Probably, I think I like the... I don't know if I could necessarily name one for sure, but one of my more liked templates is the commanders on multi-medium Earth with local deployments and no cards. Hey, is this going to be available as a VOD? I just tuned in. Yes, this will be available. We posted to the forum in this thread, in fact, the thread that I have open. Thanks for everything you've done to create this and to continue development. Is there any update you can give on the Activision lawsuit? Unfortunately, I can't talk about it too much. All I can say is it's still going, and we're heading for a trial in May. Push notifications game chat. I know you discussed this already, but can't help but ask, when you will implement it in the game. It is already high on the feature request forum. You want to get a notification on your phone when someone sends chat in a game you are in. Yeah, I'm not opposed to this feature existing. It is not something I'm currently planning on doing, but I'm not opposed to it. It has 56 votes. I would definitely consider it, but I can't tell you when exactly it will happen. I do think it is a good idea, though. Can I gift/trade artifacts with other players in Idle? No, that is not currently possible. Not everyone reads the feature forum. Maybe you could send vote notifications like you did with Clan Nora's new templates. Yeah, I mean, I think, well, when the feature forum first came out, everyone should have gotten an update notification, just as they get for every update that would have highlighted it. But yeah, I'm not opposed. I don't know if it's appropriate to continue spamming people with the feature about the feature forum. I think most people will find it on their own. I don't know. I don't know if it's a good idea to send a notification for that. Okay, I am exhausted. I've been talking for a couple hours straight now. What time did I start? Yeah, 2 hours. Cool. So that is the end of the forum thread. So that's going to be the end of the stream. I hope I answered everyone's questions. Thanks everyone so much for watching. I hope you have a Merry Christmas Eve, and a Merry Christmas Eve, and a Merry Christmas as well. All those things. I'll be merry. Cool. So, thanks everyone, and I hope to see you in the next stream. Have a good one.